Ladies and gentlemen, if you will indulge me, I want to share a story. Okay, this is a story that I personally witnessed firsthand, and anybody who's been around for a period of time on this YouTube space, you guys were probably privy to this particular experience as well. I want to share a story about a YouTuber, a guy that to this day still makes YouTube videos. He goes under a different name that he used to go under when he started on YouTube and stuff like that. I've worked with him, collaborated with him in some capacities in the past, and genuinely I still have a mutual respect for this person. And again, it's not internet beef or anything. I just want to enlighten you guys on some shit that I saw firsthand. And again, if you're around, you'll know exactly what I mean. So this particular YouTuber married a Filipina, and let's just say the relationship did not go well at all. I think it got really nasty, really dirty, and they ended up getting divorced. Now, this all happened before he started YouTube. By the time he got on YouTube, let's just say there was a lot of hate. Let me stop. Not so much hate towards Filipinas, but I'll say there was a lot of disdain, right? And there was a lot of content about why you shouldn't marry Filipinas. There was a lot of contents about, why you shouldn't deal with them, and how to deal with them in a certain capacity and all of this stuff. Almost to the point where a lot of the content mimicked, if it was not necessarily like this, it definitely mimicked the MGTOW red pill type of content and that type of energy, okay? Fast forward a couple months later, couple years later, in between some months and some years, you see a transition in the channel where this particular gentleman goes back to the Philippines, right? I love watching this content. It's always just, it's entertaining. I like to be entertained. And, I definitely like to see where people have, gradually come from. Mind you, before he started, everything that he was on about was don't deal with Filipinas in this capacity, don't do this, don't do that. This ain't what you want. All this can happen if you marry a Filipino. He was all in, right? And I respected it, right? Because everybody has their own understanding of what can happen if you deal with certain women from certain parts of the world, even if you're talking about women in the West. Fast forward, this brother ends up, he's not black, but I'll call him a brother, ends up in the Philippines, mind you, in a particular area that a lot of foreigners frequent. I will not name the area, but you know what it is, right? And you'll see that his content transitions into him dealing with a bar girl, okay? I believe there was a situation wherein he couldn't see the girl for a reason, or he was being blocked from seeing the girl. Do not quote me on that one, but let's just say some shit popped off. But it had everything to do with him falling head over heels once again for a Filipina, and shit just goes awry, right? Nothing really crazy happens. He ends up getting back, but he ends up sharing the story on his channel about who he was dealing with, who he was talking to. She ended up making a feature in some of his older content. And basically, he, everything that he was telling you what not to do, he ended up doing again, is the transition I'm trying to get in. And then it made me wonder, anybody who believes, and again, like I said, I'm not too familiar with the energy that comes with, MGTOW and red pill and all that stuff. I have a general knowledge. And when I say general, it's basic as basic can be. But I do not know if that type of energy and having that type of energy when it comes to dealing with women translates well to overseas often, especially in a place like the Philippines, because you can tell me time and time again, oh, these women are like this women are like that, this woman will do this woman will do that. You need to make sure you use women for this, they're only good for that. You can have that type of energy, but I promise you this, as simple as we are as men, all it takes is a smidget of pussy to change your whole dynamic, your whole thought process, the whole way of thinking, right? And it amazes me that all it takes is just dealing with us. Just one bitch. Fuck your whole game plan up, right? You over here thinking, and I know guys who do this all the time, man, I'm gonna go on vacation, man, I'm gonna make it rain, I'm gonna be fucking a different bitch every day, all this shit. First girl you smash, you boot up with her, and she laid up in your hotel for fucking 5 days, right? We're talking all this energy and talking all this tough talk and all this big game about how many different girls you gonna get. You find yourself boot up with the first girl you smash. What happened to having a lineup, a little roster, girls, 5 different girls you start to realize, A, that shit is not as easy as you thought it was. That's number one. Number two, if you do go that route, you realize how expensive it is, which a lot of people don't want to spend money. That's the problem. Or you ain't got it like that. You can be real, because I ain't got it like that. I'll tell you the truth. I do not have the money. Don't want to spend the money to take care of 2 or 3 bitches at a time. Why you think I got married? Feel me? Right? And number three, when you get some, it changes your whole dynamic, right? Because it feels as though the guys who talk this shit are people who ain't getting laid. And I'm not trying to call you out on anything. I'm just saying, right? Going back to the guy where I was originally talking about, I can imagine that he hadn't had pussy in a long time, right? From the time that him and his wife were no longer together up until the point where he probably made it back to the Philippines. I'm only speculating. I do not really know. I'm only speculating that man probably wasn't getting him a lot of action between that time to the time he came back to the Philippines. All it took, mind you, is a little sniff, and this motherfucker was back to doing the exact same shit that he said he would never do again. You see, it scares me to tell you this out loud, but I feel like ain't nobody else gonna tell you. We too simple as men, right? Now I can understand if the heartbreak was heartbreak and it was crazy, getting back to that or trying to navigate your way through it. If it happened and your transition was quicker, you'll probably be able to stand your ground a little bit longer, right? And not allow women to manipulate you and get into your head and all that good stuff. But imagine if you've gone through a period of time, we're talking about years, between the last time you got laid, you get to the Philippines, you get laid again. That fucking talk you was talking, that shit go out the window. You ain't trying to hear that shit. Come on now, be real with yourself. You got laid now. Now it's all about, well, damn, if that's all it took for me to get back to me, but now I'm all booed up and my old nose all open and all that shit. Well, guess what? What you're telling me is, A, you really ain't about that life you were talking about, that red pill MGTOW life, or, and I'm only saying this because I don't know, maybe that shit just doesn't necessarily translate, like I said before, to places abroad. Right? I do believe that the guys that do get laid a lot, they're able to navigate and consciously realize that, I can maneuver my way around what I'm doing, and I can tell you straight up, nah, this ain't about to happen. You can say no easier, which brings me to a point that really needs to be made. When it comes to that particular community that I just spoke about, again, no knock, no hate, no shade. There are 2 different types of people that make up the community. You got them gym bros. I like to call them the gym bros. I'm talking about the motherfuckers who work out. Girls always in their DMs and shit, and they know the ideology around women ain't shit, or that's what they feel. So they get laid a lot, or they get hit on a lot, or they're dealing with women on a regular basis, so they know how to navigate and sift through it. And on the other hand, you got the guys who got fucked over one time in their life, maybe twice, and all of a sudden they go on this rant, this rave about, women ain't shit, don't do this, don't never do this for them, don't never do that for them. But then they get laid again and end up, running it back. You see, that is the dangers of following philosophies like that, right? And I'm telling you that when you come to the Philippines, I feel that a lot of y'all have a playbook, but 99.9% of the time, that playbook go right out the window, right? You feel like you have a game plan set up. But like they used to say, man, everybody got a game plan till you get hit in the face. And when I say hit in the face, that means you get you a little bit of something, right? Not actually in a fight. But when that shit, well, let me try that again. A little better. If you let your ass get hit in the face, let's go. Once you get hit in the face, and that shit wake you up, and you're like, damn, that shit was actually fun. That shit was actually good. Now it's like, oh, shiggity shits. This is what I've been missing. You feel me? This is what I've been missing in my life. And once you realize that, your talking points change. So it makes me wonder if you was really about that life or if he was doing a lot of this. You feel me? And when I say keep the same energy, that's what I mean, right? If you gonna keep popping off at the mouth about how women ain't shit, don't fuck with these types of girls, this is why you shouldn't deal with them in this capacity, da-da-da-da, I want you to stand on it, right? Because if there's one thing I'll never do to you, I'll never lie to you about these women, right? What I know about Filipinas, I'll never lie to you about, right? I'm not gonna sit there and tell you that I know everything. I'm not gonna sit there and tell you that I'm an expert. I'm constantly still learning, but I think I know relatively enough to be able to sift and cipher through the bullshit. And I'll tell you the truth. I came into my own while I was in the Philippines. Like, when it came to dealing with young ladies and all this shit, it made me realize, okay, you can tell the ones that are about to ask you for money because the transition in conversation, and I mean, it becomes rapid fire and the questions come quick. You can almost see where it's leading up to somebody about to try to hit you up for some bread. You can kind of smell it coming a mile away, right? Or when somebody really don't fuck with you, somebody really don't like you, them texts be dry as hell. You probably went to her and got the number and she kind of just gave it to you just because you start texting, take her a long time to respond type shit, right? So you really ain't prioritized. You start to realize that shit, right? It comes with time and experience, but at the same time, I just don't want you guys to come through with a game plan and a mindset when you come to the Philippines about this shit and it completely turn you around and turn you out. Because if you're a content creator, at some point, you got to stand on what you said, right? As a creator, if that's the content that you put out, motherfucker, you gonna have to stand on it. I stand on everything that I put on this channel, right? I got to, because I said it. Now, if there's a time in my life where I feel like there's a switch up, I'll revert back to what I said, and then I'll tell you why I'm changing my mind or my thoughts on it while I'm making a new video or whatever it may be. But at some point, if you're gonna say some shit, stand on it, right? That's all I want you to do. And I felt like my boy did a complete 180 on me. And it was who he was dealing with that kind of had me befuddled and confused. And then it made me realize at the same time, it may not even be the women, it's just the women you're dealing with, right? And this is a revelatory moment that a lot of guys ain't gonna make it to this part of the video. You already know what it is. If you made it to this part of the video, throw like a fist pound or something in the comment section. Or give me like a fist bump or some shit. I don't know. Just as a way to let me know you made it to the 12-minute mark, right? Because I know a lot of people don't listen to my content this long. But anyways, like I said, maybe it ain't so much about any of the shit that you just said, or you're not willing to stand on it. It could be that you just need it, like I said, to get laid and stuff like that. And your whole trajectory switch up and change kind of makes you look weird when you switching up your content and you say something in the beginning and then you turn around and do a complete 180 on us, right? So if you're gonna stand on that content, but then you gonna switch it up, I suggest you at least put out a PSA to the people who followed you based off of that content and then explain why you're gonna switch it up. No different than if I said, you know what? I found out in my life that Filipinas just weren't the one, right? Imagine I built my entire channel on talking about Philippines and Filipinas and why I believed it was so great. Imagine if I made that statement. Now I have to come out and damn near undo years of fucking content to explain to you why I feel the way that I feel now. Not saying that that's what it is, of course not, because you already know that's my second home and it's gonna always be that way. But you get what I'm saying, right? And sometimes people don't want to stand on it. And I know why. Because it's gonna take away the people that believed you at every twist and every turn and held on every word you said. I mean, it is what it is. If you bout that life, you bout that life. If you not, don't even sweat the technique, man. Doc ain't tripping. But I love seeing shit like this unfold because it's interesting to me. Because it goes back to the question that I asked. And I want you to leave it in the comment section below. Does this type of energy or this type of mindset and philosophy, the Red Pill MGTOW, understanding that it has great points, mind you, understanding that it has great points, does that shit really translate to a life overseas or a life abroad? Like, can it really work for you? Or is it a game plan that you have that at any given moment in time could completely flip upside down, right? It's my time, effort, and energy, ladies and gentlemen. Good docs, good books, all my good shit. description there below. It's been a good talk. Y'all take care of yourself. Be blessed, man. Doc is out. Peace.